Hey y'all, it's me, Dr. Lynn Daniel, PhD, EDS. I'm the self-care evangelist, and I am making a series on My Husband Has Died, Now What? It is a series about my journey to widowhood in the early 2000s with the death of my late husband during that time. And so why am I talking about this now so many years later? Well, because I feel ready to talk about it in this capacity. I've talked about it to loved ones, friends, and family in some capacity in small groups. But now, here in a larger audience online, I think that it is time for me to share my story because I'm writing about my story. I'm researching widowhood, the loss of a spouse, especially for young women in their 40s, like I was at that time. So I'm ready. And my goal is to share with you things that I did that now, in retrospect and in looking at the research, they were very healthy approaches to deal with the trauma of death, grief, and loss. So today I want to talk about structuring time, having structure in the day, the week, the month, because I found that having structure allowed me to breathe, like I would have time to grieve and breathe, grieve, cry, get it out, and then move on with my day. Now, some people may need, you really have to know what you need. But for me, I felt that after some time period, which is still kind of foggy, I'll have to go look back in notes, but after the initial period of the shock of the loss and the hustle and bustle around making arrangements and informing family and getting all the pieces in place to put that person to rest and to now move into single life as a single person, life as a widow. Once you get beyond that, then what do you do? So for me, it was important for me to have structure in my day. That way, I would be actively pursuing some things and allowing myself to time to grieve, to cry, to go off alone and put my head under the blanket and cry, if that's what I wanted to do. So I built in, like, these things weren't, I didn't sit down and map it out and said, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. These things they came innately. They felt like natural courses to take, or it felt like an authentic flow for me to, like, live and maneuver my life. So I continue to work. So I had structure around working, which meant a big chunk of my day, 8 to 10 hours of my day, was spent on prepping for work, getting to work, being at work, implementing work, meetings of work, and all the other things of work. So that was enough to really keep me in the moment of life, in the already established rhythm of my life that I wanted to maintain so that it felt normal. I had some sense of normalcy in my day. And then when I would get home, then I would spend a lot of time, initially I would spend a lot of time watching television, talking on the phone to people. I mean, it really was just me vegging out or just having nothing planned and allowing myself to rest. I guess that's what I was doing, just to rest. But then after some time, and I can't recall how much time, if this was 6 months, if it was, I think it was about a year and a half, is when I discovered a small church local in my community, and I started attending, and I felt the people there, the parishioners, the members, made me feel so welcome and invited me to join the choir. And when I joined the choir, that put a new layer of, it was a new, I was building like a new memory or beginning something that I hadn't done in a while. I've sung in choirs before, right? But this was an opportunity for me to make new friends, be a part of a new community, practice a skill, talent, and gift, and enjoy just the process of serving and singing in church. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being with skillful musicians and just loving it and enjoying just the emotions of it, the joy of it, feeling a sense of warmth and healing from it, fulfillment, a sense of fulfillment and purpose from singing in the choir and serving in the Sunday services. That small act of me accepting the call to sing in the choir opened within me joy, like a sense of joy and creativity. And I began writing poetry again. I began going online to poetry.org or poetry.com. Back then it was some website affiliated, I think it was affiliated with like a greetings card company, and they would have a variety of poetic games that you could play to either manipulate words into a poem or into some kind of saying. Then they had one where you would, I think, fill in blanks or answer questions or something. But there were three that I recall I would do a lot. And then one of them was you just typed out your poem, and I would print them and just keep the papers with my poems, and then, transcribe them into my journal. And many of those poems became songs. So all of this was transpiring about 16 to 24 months beyond the death of my late husband. So this music, singing in the choir, sparked hope and joy and creativity, and rekindled in me talents and hobbies from my childhood. I was writing song lyrics in 6th and 7th grade. I wrote my first play in 8th grade. I was writing poems in 7th grade and short stories, the whole 9 yards, right? Even in high school and in college, I continued to write. But this was different because in the process of writing the poems, I was expressing those feelings. I was becoming more aware of a variety of feelings. I was able to name the feelings. I was able to sing about these feelings, right? And put words to these feelings, and then construct all of this, listen to some beautiful instrumental music that I would purchase from music producers. So in the early 2000s, when we were shifting, the music industry was shifting from physical copies of music on CDs to digital files, WAV files, and that type of thing. And so I would go online. All you had to do was like, there wasn't Google, but you would search for musical instrumentals or something. And then you could find, I would find various artists, and they would have their own web page with like digital files and snippets, and you could listen to snippets of the music. And if you like that snippet, you could purchase the full 3-4 minute instrumental. Many of them were like $29.95, and those were high quality. They were high quality, man. You could hear all the instrumentals. Like I guess they stacked them. I mean, I'm not a music engineer or nothing like that, but I have experience from the studio. And I know they were high quality because I have the ear to hear them. And when I took them finally to the music studio to record them, to the recording studio, that's what the engineer told me, that they were good. They were good, right? So there was one guy named Aaron Bradley back in the day. I think he was from out of Chicago, Illinois. I didn't know him personally. I still don't, but I purchased many of his instrumentals for my, let's see, no, not my symphony, for a song named Beautiful that I recorded in my home studio, but I never released it. Unfetter My Heart Unfetter My Heart 2, which is on Reverb Nation. You can hear my stuff on Reverb Nation and here on this YouTube channel. A lot of my music, not all of it though. So these are things that I did. So, you know, in writing, there are guided exercises. So I'm talking about structuring your day, and then I'm just sharing with you things that I did to add structure to my day. Hobbies, get a hobby, because hobbies will add structure to your day. Meals, have a plan for your meals, because then it will become a routine and you can manage your nutrition and be healthy. That adds structure. Then my writing, you know, there are guided writing activities that you can do with a therapist or with a pastor or clergy, right? So I have a grief sentence completion assignment here. This is from therapistaid.com. And so you have sentence starters, sentence frames, and then you complete the sentence to describe how you're feeling. Right now, I feel blank. I feel saddest when. And so this is one type of writing activity that you can include in your day to add a layer of structure around expressing your feelings, identifying your feelings, and attaching word and meaning to those feelings. Here's a goodbye letter. So you can actually construct a goodbye letter. Notice that it has sentence starters and you complete the sentences. So that's a good one. Now these things I did, but I did it in the form of poems and songwriting. And those poems talked about like my desires, talked about my loss, talked about my questions. You know, You're True, my song You're True, it talks about what does the future hold for me. And then and these songs speak from my perspective of my faith in Jesus Christ. And so, you know, even though these songs may not outwardly say Jesus through all of them, they all, and many of them, if you know what to listen for, you'll know that many of them are scripturally based lyrics. They're from like the book of Proverbs, the book of Song of Solomon, Psalms, like that, Mark. Okay. And so I would write my feelings out in these songs. So the tasks, these writing tasks, this is a morning task. And it talks about you can do this in any order that you feel you would like to do them in. And then accept the reality of the loss. Hello, what's wrong with my lighting? There we go. Recognize and process the pain of the grief. Adjust to a world without your loved one. Remember your loved one while moving forward in life. And look, that's so right on, because you are having to learn how to do things without your spouse. Like, if your spouse is the one who maintains certain things in the home, then it becomes obvious when those things are needing your spouse's attention. So you have to develop a new plan or a new structure around that. So you start researching who to hire if necessary, if that's going to be the structure, or who to some kind of scheduled service plan, or a family member or some friend who can help you with that. And so yeah, it's structures for a lot of different things that you don't even think of. Like, if your spouse did the oil changes, now you've got to put structure around that. If your spouse did the grocery shopping, now you got to put structure around that. Okay? And then this last page that is a part of this therapistaid.com, putting structures around expressing your feelings and writing them out. This one talks about grief myths and grief realities. So, putting structure around your grief process. That's what today's video is about. Thank you. I hope you stayed the whole 17 minutes. I appreciate you. If you did, if you didn't, I still appreciate you. Thank you so much, and be blessed. Come back. Bye.